I get a lot of questions asking for updates. Are we still using Biblioplan? Do we still love it? Are we going to use it next year? And the answer to all of those questions is yes. And I'm going to share in this video just how this year has gone, what we're using if you're not up to date on that, and just all the logistics that go with it. If you're new here, my name is Megan, and I'm so glad that you're here. As I mentioned, today's video is a video about Biblioplan and how it is going or has gone so far this year. So we are doing year 3 of Biblioplan, which is early modern times. And last year we did medieval, and it was fabulous. We had actually not done medieval history yet. So if you're not familiar with Biblioplan, Biblioplan is a literature-based history that is built on a 4-year history cycle. And there is a great mindset behind that. So the way it works is year 1 is ancient, year 2 is medieval, year 3 is early modern, and year 4 is modern times, which is about 1850 to current times. Now, what's great about that is if you have looked at the text for Biblioplan, or maybe you haven't yet, you will find it is very rich and very informative. There is a lot of information in here, especially for younger children. But what's great about doing a 4-year history cycle is that it's all about the exposure to the topics. So once you shuffle back through that 4-year cycle again at greater depth, then they will glean more and more each time you go through that cycle. It picks up right at the end of the Renaissance, in the age of exploration, right where year 2 leaves off. It actually kind of recaps or references some of the things from year 2, which if you haven't done year 2, it's really not that big of a deal when it references those things. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is that yes, Biblioplan is a Christian curriculum. In the homeschool world, there is a lot of Christian history curriculum. One of the things that I really love about Biblioplan, though, is the opportunity that it gives for discussion, especially when it comes to being able to have discernment and apply a worldview perspective to different things that we're learning in history. A lot of Christian curriculum will interject that worldview perspective in the curriculum, like the very blatant, and this is where we see this, this, and this, which I think is absolutely wonderful. I actually have no problem with that. However, at some point, one of the things that I want my kids to be able to do is to be able to see that for themselves, to apply what they know about our biblical worldview and to apply that through the lens of history. And so that has created so many amazing and wonderful discussions. And so that is something I'm really grateful for, that although this history is from a Christian perspective, I feel like there's more of an open door for discussion in regards to developing my children's biblical worldview. So I really love that, and I just wanted to share that part with you as well. Now, the thing that I continue to love so much about this curriculum, because we have done other literature-based history curriculum in the past, and we enjoyed them, but this really has been the one I've enjoyed the most, and a lot of that has to do with, obviously, I really do enjoy the text, but my favorite part is the family guide. With this curriculum, you can really truly just take it and make it what you need to fit your family and your season of homeschooling. And what I mean by that is, in the family guide, you don't even necessarily have to use their text. If you want to use Story of the World, it actually has in their family guide, like this is week 2, for example, it says Story of the World Volume 3. It tells you what to read for that week from Story of the World if you want to use that. Or maybe you want to use it in addition to their text. It also does that with Mystery of History. It also does that with the Usborne history book. It has it for A Child's First Book of American History, History of Us, Volume 2 through 5. There's several texts that it draws from so that you can add to or use whatever fits your family in that season of your homeschool. Now, we all know our seasons look different in our homeschooling, so sometimes we want a little more depth and sometimes we want more of that broad overview, and I appreciate that they offer several texts to choose from for that purpose. The other thing that it does is it offers different resources that you can put alongside it. Things like their little hands-on crafts and things like that, little activities that you can add on depending on the weeks. Also, the maps. We have used these quite a bit, as well as the timeline. We use this together as a family. They just take turns cutting out and pasting them on together, and we go over the timeline each time we finish a chapter. And then also you could even add in the worksheets. I took the binding off just so I can make a copy for my boys, but these are, maybe you want more of a worksheet for one of your children or a few of your children. There is that option as well. There are several things on the website to choose from as far as additional resources, but honestly, you don't even really have to use any of them. Another one I meant to grab to show you guys that we use quite often is the coloring book that goes with it. That is something that's very helpful, especially for a couple of my kiddos that tend to get a little distracted during reading and things like that. And so if their hands are busy coloring a picture that goes along with our lesson for that day, then they are able to listen and retain the information a lot better. Now, one thing that we have been utilizing this year that I have found very helpful, and I will continue to use in the future, is they actually offer the text, their Biblioplan text, Remember the Days. They actually offer it as an MP3 and audio. So we have used that quite a bit. So there was a point where sickness came through our house, and that was just not something I felt like doing. I didn't want to read out loud. So I was able just to play the audio, and the kids were able still to follow along in the book and look at the pictures and things like that as we went through it, and that worked out very well. It also helps if you want to listen to it in the car when you're driving to different things like piano and tutoring and all the things. Now, a common question that I have gotten is, do all of my children do this history with us? So for me personally, I do not do a formal history like this until around 2nd grade. And so I have 2 kiddos that are younger than that. They're in the room when we do it. They are usually listening and coloring the pages that we're doing, or like if we do the craft that goes along with it or something like that, they are doing the craft as well. But as far as actually like making them sit down, like if they get up and wander off, I'm not chasing after them and bringing them back for history time. If they come and go, that's fine with me. I don't put a lot of weight on history at that age. For me, it's more about the exposure to history in general, and I spend time with them focusing more on just reading through different picture books that actually correlate with what we're learning about. They just don't realize it's what we're doing in history. So like, for example, when we're learning about the Pilgrims, then I read them picture books that went along with that as well. I read them a picture book about a Dutch folk tale when we were learning about the Dutch and the Dutch Revolt and all that kind of stuff. So they don't realize that it kind of correlates with what we're learning, but it's also not like a formal way of doing history with them. So if you're curious how I do history with all my kids together, that's basically how I do it. I don't put a lot of weight on making them sit and do it with us the whole time, but I do try to get some of the picture books that it suggests in the family guide. So that was the other thing I wanted to mention. The whole part down here at the bottom of each page for the week, it has a kindergarten through 2nd grade option of books, 3rd through 5th, 5th through 8th, and 8th through high school, as well as family read aloud suggestions. So I absolutely love this family guide. There's also suggestions for movies, for different links to online like history YouTube videos and things like that. There's just a lot to offer in this family guide. Now, what's really great is if you're interested in diving deeper into this curriculum, I'll put a link to their website down below. You can actually download it's either 2 or 3 weeks worth of their curriculum. You can download that. And I'm talking like all the pieces. So you can test it all out. It has the text, it has the family guide, the additional resources for like 2 to 3 weeks. You can actually test those out, see how you like them in your home, and see if that's going to work for you and what pieces that you want to incorporate in your home and which pieces you don't. Now, next year, I think we are going to move just into the next cycle, which is modern times. My oldest son will actually be in 9th grade, so he will be using the high school level. That I think is going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. To be honest with you, I can't really wrap my brain around it yet until I actually get the curriculum in hand, and when I do, I will share that with you guys, how it's going to work with a high schooler, middle schooler, and elementary school kiddos all doing the same level at the same time, and how that's going to work. I have ideas in my head, but again, I can't really wrap my brain around it until it all comes and I can get my hands on it and my eyes on it and really see how that's going to work. But just know that a video about that will be coming. How do you use it with 3 different levels of kiddos? So that is my update on our Biblioplan experience this year. Yes, we are planning to use it again next year, and yes, we still love it. So let me know down in the comments if you have any more questions. I will try to answer them for you. If you use Biblioplan, why don't you chime in down there as well? And I hope to see you guys on future videos. Thanks so much, guys, and have a blessed day.